Hello, welcome back. Today I'm out at the Mount Olivet Cemetery in Wheat Ridge, Colorado. We're gonna be visiting the grave of Henrietta Dietemann. Her and her 5-year-old son were actually killed by Indians. So I'm gonna tell you about her story as we go look for her grave. In 1868, Henrietta Dietemann and her 5-year-old son John were found dead at the ranch near Kiowa, Colorado. Their bodies were riddled with Indian arrows and their scalps removed. Seeing a band of Arapaho Indians taking horses out of the corral, Henrietta, her sister, and hired hands took as many possessions as possible and with her son and daughter began to walk to the stage line some 2 miles away. The Indians rode toward the group and they scattered. Henrietta, heavy with child, did not get away. Her and John were shot full of arrows, scalped, and their bodies horribly mutilated. The August 27th, 1868 Rocky Mountain News article read, "Last evening, about 7 o'clock, a team came into town bringing the remains of Henrietta Dietemann and her boy. The person spoken of yesterday as having been captured, the latter about 5 years old, killed by the Indians on Comanche Creek. The boy had been shot several times and his neck broken. The woman had been shot through the body, stabbed and scalped. Decomposition had set in and the sight was horrible. They were killed near their house, Mr. Dietemann being absent. A man who was about to marry Mr. Dietemann's sister, his sister, and a daughter of the Dietemanns, considerably older than the murdered boy, were at the house at the time but escaped. About 30 Indians came after the man who brought away the bodies Tuesday night, but he succeeded in getting into the station nearby. The remains were taken to an empty house in front of the Tremont house, where for an hour or two people came and viewed them. And there's even an account from the hired man that was there, and he said, Mrs. Dietemann was a little behind. I was carrying the little girl on my back, and I had the little boy by the hand. I walked up the hill, and when I looked back, the Indians had grabbed Mrs. Dietemann, and with a pistol shot her through the breast. The little boy was with me, and he wanted to run back to his mama, and he went back to her and got killed." After the bodies were brought to Denver, a coroner's inquest was soon held for the murdered 31-year-old mother and 5-year-old son. During the examination, it was found that Henrietta was 7 months pregnant. And besides the newspaper accounts, very little has actually been published regarding the Dietemann Massacre, as they call it. Or they also say the Dietemann Murders. So we are coming up to her grave and her son's grave here. The cemetery lists it on their walking tour, so you see it has a letter next to it. But here we are. Henrietta Dietemann, killed by Indians, August 25th, 1868, aged 31 years. Also, her child John, aged 5 years. So yes, very sad story. Especially just reading the accounts where, you know, she was pregnant, 7 months pregnant, and, you know, couldn't run as fast, and her son actually got killed wanting to go back to her. So just very sad. And I know there's been some other, you know, massacres in Colorado like this. This one is not talked about as much as the others, so I definitely wanted to come here and visit her grave. Now I believe her husband ended up remarrying, and I think moved to Minnesota or something, and had kids with his new wife. So he buried Henrietta and his son John here. Rest in peace to Henrietta and John. Hope you enjoyed that video and getting to see the grave of Henrietta Dietemann. Please like and subscribe for some more videos, and I'll see you at the next grave. Thanks.